Good morning, Calvary Fallbrook. This is Pastor Armando. Over the next few weeks, as we are in quarantine, me and the other teaching pastors, Pastor Pat and Pastor Phils, are going to just be bringing you guys just short devotions in the morning to encourage you. And we're going to do the topics of faith, hope, and love. And so this morning, I'm going to take just a short look at faith. And I wanted to use Joseph, Jacob's son, Joseph of the coat of many colors. Because Joseph, I think out of all the Bible characters, him and Daniel to me seemed the most righteous. Like they did what was right. Joseph honored his father. He was an honorable man, and no matter what he faced, his character always shined forth. When he was sold into slavery by his brothers, he went to Potiphar's house, sold there to Potiphar's house, and what did he do? He did his work hard. He did what was right. He was tempted and he resisted temptation. And there was a passage in the Psalms, it's Psalm 105, and starting in verse 16, and it's when the Lord summons the famine on Egypt. Remember there that Joseph went from Potiphar's house, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, that he tried to rape her, and then Potiphar throws him in prison. And he's in prison, and he's there for 15 years. And again, what does he do? He does all to the glory of God. And he always has God in his consciousness. And what I want us to know about Joseph and his faith is it shined brightest when it was darkest. And I think as we go through these times of uncertainty, these times of we can't predict really what's going to happen tomorrow, how long we're going to be in our homes, how long we're going to be away from work, I think we got to focus on what Joseph focused on. That's the character of God. And I think about Joseph, and again, in Potiphar's house, he got promoted. In prison, he got promoted, but every time he got promoted, he got knocked down a step. From being Jacob's favorite son to being Potiphar's favorite servant to now being in prison. And I want to read this to you. It says in verse 16 of Psalm 105, "When he summoned a famine on the land and broke all supply of bread, he had sent a man ahead of them, Joseph, who was sold as a slave. His feet were hurt with fetters. His neck was put in a collar of iron until what he had said came to pass." And notice this last part of verse 19. The word of the Lord tested him. The word of the Lord tested him. So all of a sudden now, it's almost like for Joseph is what God has promised him, what God said he was going to do with his life, that his brothers would bow down before him, that he would be exalted. Does he really believe what God has said? And I think as we go through these hard times and as we face these difficulties, I think the word of the Lord is going to test us. And we have to find out, do we have faith in the circumstances, or do we have faith in the person and the work of Christ and his word? Because his word tells us he never leaves us nor forsakes us. He's not going to put us into a circumstance that is too difficult for us. If we rely on our strength, most likely we're going to fail. If we rely on our emotions, most likely we're going to get depressed. But I think as we go through these hard times and as we go through these difficult times, I think we got to see what God is doing. And that's what faith does. God kind of puts hope in front of us, but faith sees the hope, and faith sees the hope through the circumstance. And I think that's the challenge we face now is, it's just the world is on lockdown. We're on lockdown. And are we going to have a hope that we can see the hope that God has placed before us and allow now his word to nourish us? Because at the end of his life, when Jacob, his dad, had died, and Joseph's brothers were like, "Man, he's gonna get us back," Joseph said, "Well, you meant for evil, God meant for good." So I think my challenge to us this morning is simply this: are we going to be able to see with eyes of faith the hope that is laid before us? And are we going to be able to trust God that he is with us? He hasn't left us. This is not too big for him. He's seen this a lot of times. And remember this: I'll never leave you nor forsake you. And the love of Christ surpasses our understanding. I believe throughout these next coming weeks, this is where we're going to have to find our strength. And I want to encourage you, take the love that God has for you. Walk in faith. Faith sees the promises, laughs at the impossible, and says, "It shall be done," the great Charles Wesley hymn. And it sees it. Well, here's the thing I want us to do. Love your family, love your neighbor, and allow God to love you. God God bless you guys, Calvary Chapel Fallbrook, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Missed you yesterday. Thanks for tuning in. Love you very much. Any needs you have, please contact the church. We are here for you. We want to stand with you in prayer and in action. So love you guys. God bless. Bye-bye.